Sure. It's a bit hard to tell on this stickman. Local 87. Okay, next thing are the legs, and I'll show you why I'm saying that sometimes you cannot script everything. I mean, you can do it. It will apply for 90% of the cases, but I'll show what it will happen if I select the entire leg and try to zero it. See, it does this thing, which is not cool. And that's because he has a different joint orientation on these things. It's not like this, it's following the next joint, which is not that bad, but it doesn't work with this thing. And this one has a weird orientation actually. It's still following, but has a rotation into it. It's not that great. So the way I do it is first I straighten the leg, then I eyeball the other one inside Kubold. Try to get it straight as I can. It's important to have a good T-pose, as everything will get offset from this pose to your characters, and if your other character T-pose is not a perfect T-pose, you can get you can miss a lot of details from the actual mock-up that you want to retarget. And you can come back into these poses, you can unlock the character and do any changes you need before plotting, and then you can do like shoulder offsets and feet offset on your on your character if you didn't make a straight pose first. But as I was saying, if you get out of the way this thing, you won't have it as an error. Next, you can focus on other issues that will come up. Check to see if they are okay. They look alright. Let's add another key. You see, if I will move now, it will mess up my key, so I will place the key here and move it. Alright, so this guy is also ready to receive his character. I'm going to check the neck. Yeah, the neck. Spine one, just one spine. Alright. Another thing that I want to do is to rename the definition so it won't merge with my other characters. So I'll call it Kubold. There. On my other characters, I tend to leave it as default character, as I have other tools that I made that will merge onto the rig, like hand control between poses. So those will merge the rig parts and replace them. And if you don't have the same name, the merge won't work properly. Yeah. So I characterized. And now I can merge the other character. Just to merge in the pose. We should want to call it bind pose. Oops. It's because I forgot to rename the character. I did this thing. One thing that you should learn is to save before doing something, which I didn't do. So I'll pause the video and get back to you once I fix this method. Alright, I'm back. I just rearranged the bones from a fresh file, and I will explain you. Why it merged the wrong things. Well, it didn't merge the wrong things. It merged the things that were not renamed. So I'll apply another key, and I'll drag in this into here. So you'll see I have the same names here: roots, hips, etc. And inside Motionbuilder, you need to have unique names for your things, so the merge will work properly. So I will add a namespace to this. I'll call it Kubold. Kubold motion. I'll apply it to branch, so it applies to everything inside. And now I won't have any name clashes. Another thing I have to do is to add a character. Rename it. Let's try again merging the main character. Deep pose, call it blind pose. Alright, this time worked fine. One thing that you can mention is that the source character is a bit bigger than my character. I could try to leave it like this and let Motionbuilder figure out the offsets, or do some offset settings inside the character. Speaking of which, I would like to set some things on DJ character. inside the offset I don't want to have too much mask compensation, and for the floor contacts, yeah, I will have them. You can turn on and off these floor contacts depending if you need them. If you want, if you have feet going through the floor or something like this. And this locomotion set has a few falling animations, so I will leave it off, as it will break the rig if you have feet contacts and the character wants to go through the floor. Yeah, so I'll show you what I did to get rid of this big difference. If you try to resize the root, it's because it has animation on it, it's doing some weird stuff, so you cannot resize this root. So I'll create another bone, call it something like CB scale. I'll drag the Kubold character. Actually, I want to get it to 0 first. So now I can scale it properly. And my scale was around 0.94. Not really, I picked the wrong bone. This one. Alright. So with the KB scale selected, I will make it 0.94. And this, you can see, it will scale the character. And this is pretty close to the dimension of my character. I'll keep it like that. And now I can select my character and set it to source of Kubold character. And having the proper offsets, it's doing it's solving much better for the hands and everything else. If you see, if I scale the character, or when you reach something down, add some pickup like this. So you see, it's not reaching properly for that, so I will add a bit of blending here, so it goes there, and some rotation blend on the head. No translation. The head is fine, I see. You can play with this modifiers here if you want less or more for different animations. You can do it per animation. This works alright. Where are the groups? I will create a group for the Kubold. I can hide it. It's just my character. We need to get the root of our character, also follow the root of the Kubold animes. For that, I will create a relation constraint. You can use position constraints, but I prefer using relation, as I can pick whichever node I want. So I'll send this and receive it. It works fine. I can plot, and you can pretty much apply the same settings to all your animations. If they look alright, you can go through them and then plot everything in one go. Go here and plot the skeleton, plot all takes, but I will do it on one of the animations to show you another thing that I like to do with the root position. Let's pick, was a run circular or something like that. Arch loop. Now it's walk, arch loop. I will show you on this animation as it's you will see it in the best way. The way he did it, he had the root on yeah, it's offset to the player. So the way I like to do it is to have the root as a center of mass. So it's adding a bit of sliding when you go left and right, but it diminish. Yeah, it will make less visible the big leap from one side to another. If you move control, you can have some lerp between the animations, but it's still pivoting from the floor instead of pivoting from the hips, how you usually have a human being doing. You know, it will pivot from the center of mass. So I will first plot to control rig, and I need to create a control rig. So after I plotted to rig, switch is to 60. I will deactivate the relation constraint I made to copy the animation from the Kubold root, and I will create another relation constraint. Center of mass. Okay, and for that I will need a few bones. I'll pick the effectors from the control rig as my sources. Okay. And get the root as a receiver, and then we can have a node called center of mass, and this one can take up to 10 vectors. Get them connected here.